Hey there, I'm Ann Teagarden, and this is episode 12 of the Unveiled podcast. Because marriage is a journey of highs and lows and occasional potholes, I'd love to travel this journey with you as the encouraging, practical voice of a friend, as we ask God to unveil what is really going on in our hearts and in our marriages. So thanks for joining me today. This is the last episode in the series that I've been doing about overcoming lies that women believe. Don't worry, I will come back to this idea over and over because I think this is the root of most of our issues. So for this last one, I want to talk about the lie that sex is for men and their enjoyment only. We're often told that men need sex and women don't. I do think that many men have a higher need for sex than their wives, but that is not always true, and it does not in any way diminish the wife's desire or need for sexual satisfaction. Unfortunately, sex has been a taboo subject for Christians to talk about for a long time, and it's made out to be bad or dirty somehow in a lot of circles. But sexual intimacy is a beautiful act that brings two people into one. It provides a sense of closeness, oneness, emotional release, and pleasure. Yes, pleasure. If you're not finding sex pleasurable, this episode is for you. Sex was created by God for married couples, and within that context, it is holy and pure. And being sexy as a wife is not a bad thing. Your husband wants to see the sexy side of you, so unleash it, girl. Don't think of sex as an obligation either. Sex is necessary for a healthy marriage, and you're the only ones who can truly meet each other's desires in that way. But having sexual relations just because you're supposed to really misses the point. There has been too much harmful teaching in this area in the church. Outside the church, though, people like sex, so there's no need to teach obligation sex. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Sex needs to be fun and fulfilling and mutual. Sure, there are times when I think, we should have sex because we haven't lately, but then I work to get myself in the mood and enjoy it and not just do it because and feel like some sort of used object. Some have taught that it's up to women to keep their husband from porn and lust by having sex often. Well, what's the problem with that teaching? Well, it puts the burden of him rejecting temptation on the wife, and that's not right. He needs to have his heart right with the Lord on those issues. And lastly, on the negative side, the world has had a lot of poor teaching about sex, and women are made out to be sex objects all over the media. But we're not objects of any kind. We are beautiful works of art made by the Creator to glorify Him and please our husbands, and vice versa, for our husbands to please us. Satan, with this lie that sex is just for him, is once again causing division and hurt between husbands and wives. The truth is, God created men and women as sexual creatures, and He made sex enjoyable for both partners. God created sex and He saw that it was good, just like the rest of His creation. It is a way of being intimate and becoming one. And it should not only be a physical experience, but emotional and spiritual as well. I love the Song of Solomon. It's a beautiful book about love and desire, and it proves that God has designed us to enjoy each other's bodies, both men and women. So chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, record the woman as saying, "Oh, that he would kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. For your love is more delightful than wine. The fragrance of your perfume is intoxicating. Your name is perfume poured out. No wonder young women adore you. Take me with you. Let us hurry. Oh, that the king would bring me to his chambers." In chapter 7 of Song of Solomon, verses 6 through 9, lists King Solomon as saying, "How beautiful you are, and how pleasing, my love, with your delights. Your stature is like that of a palm, and your breast like clusters of fruit. I said, I will climb the palm tree. I will take hold of its fruit. May your breasts be like clusters of grapes on the vine, the fragrance of your breath like apples, and your mouth like the best wine." May the wine go straight to my beloved, flowing gently over lips and teeth. I belong to my beloved, and his desire is for me. So you see, women should enjoy their man, and to do that, it needs to be a loving, tender, unhurried experience, at least most of the time. And women, you should be experiencing orgasm. And I know that's elusive for many. It can be harder for us. We need to be emotionally in the right place, and we need to learn about our bodies. Men have to be a little more patient for women as we take longer to warm up. And sex is both a mental and a physical issue. And whole episodes could be just on those sort of things. But I want to point you towards some great resources that are out there. I highly recommend Sheila Ray Gregoire, a Christian woman who's been called to upgrade Christian sex lives and clear up a lot of misconceptions about sex. She's often called the Christian sex lady. If you've had a lot of bad teaching about sex, she just published a book entitled The Great Sex Rescue. I'm currently reading it, and it's very well done, and it will bring freedom from poor teaching like nothing else. So I encourage you to order that. I think it's off Amazon or anywhere else. Sometimes we want to enjoy sex, but we just don't know how to talk about it with our spouse. I know my husband and I didn't really talk about sex or during sex or share what we liked and didn't like for the longest time. It was almost like it was a taboo subject to just sit and have a conversation about it. But one year for his birthday, I bought him the book 31 Days to Great Sex. I think it was one of his favorite gifts, and that book is also by Sheila. We found it to be a great way to learn more about our bodies and try new things and to open up having meaningful dialogue about sex. So if you are not enjoying sex or not having orgasms very often, it can begin to feel more like an obligation, and you may even begin to resent it. I know for me, I had orgasms probably about half the time for many years. And as I got older and my body began to change, it became less and less frequent. And I finally came to the conclusion, hey, you know what? Sex is for me too. And having an orgasm during intercourse is just harder for me post-menopause. But I have no problem having one with manual stimulation. And I used to think that that was selfish, but it's not. My husband wants me to enjoy the whole experience. Okay, I'm really sorry if that was TMI. The point of all that is that this is a skill, and it takes learning and practice and time to develop. You can't just keep doing the same things and expecting different results. Sheila Ray Gregoire has a great course that I purchased and went through called the Orgasm Course. And I really enjoyed it and learned a lot about myself, and I think you will too. She has a lot of practical tips for the physical as well as the emotional side of sex. And she even has another orgasm course designed for the husband to help him learn about his wife. I actually have links in the description to purchase the course or both courses if you're interested. And if you use that link, it helps support this podcast. I promise I won't recommend any resources that I don't believe in. Sometimes we just aren't feeling like sex very often. If that's the case, don't despair. Sheila actually has a course for that too called the Boost Your Libido course. I just purchased that one, and I'll let you know more about it after I go through it. However, if you're interested in it, here's what her website says it will teach you. How what we think, our hormones, diet, and exercise impacts our libido. How to love our bodies and get over past hurts and see sex as a good thing. And what to do if sex is just kind of boring or doesn't feel that great or doesn't rev your engine. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I have put links to that course as well in the description, and it will also support our marriage ministry. Don't let Satan tell you that sex isn't for you as well as your husband, because it is. And what better time than the holidays when we have a little more free time to work on your sex life? What a wonderful gift to yourself and your husband. Sex is actually more enjoyable for him when you're enjoying it too. Proverbs 5:19 says, "May you ever be intoxicated with her love." So it's time to intoxicate your husband with your sexiness and enjoy yourself in bed. It's a team project. Well, that's it for today. Feel free to email me at ann@synergiamm.com if you want a private chat about any of today's topics. and go get some of Sheila's great resources and upgrade your sex life today. I'll have the titles and links in the description for you. Remember, you are never alone. You are enough. You are loved, and you are sexy and worthy of sexual satisfaction. Go in peace.